Today on TuneTalk podcast, we're joined by Alex Martin and Sam Dawson, who are part of the Taboos. The lads have recently released 4 singles, accumulating over 50,000 Spotify listeners, with their latest track, Innovative Thinking, being released back in July, which was also BBC Music introducing in Lincolnshire's Pick of the Week. So, first of all, how are we, lads?
Yeah, very well, mate. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Yeah,
Good to have you on.
Yeah.
Good. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, no worries.
I guess the best place to start would be how did the three of you meet? Well, because everyone's not there, you have to speak on his behalf. But and like, how did it lead to the formation of the band?
Sam and I, we knew each other. Went to school together in Lincolnshire, and then we sort of like gradually got into music and like dabbled with a few bands here and there, and then eventually moved to uni, and then met a drummer, and then we're currently in the process of like switching between drummers. So we've just started like rehearsing with a new drummer as of like 2 days ago. But yeah, that's probably about it, really. Yeah, sort
of. You mentioned you were in other bands prior to the Taboos. What was that like for you?
Yeah, I mean, like it was quite similar in like the way that like the songs were written. It was like mainly Sam and I. It's pretty much 100% Sam and I just writing the tunes. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I'd say like we've always had like the creative freedom as well in like, all the bands we've been in, which has been nice. So, but yeah, we're definitely like, yeah, we feel like we've developed a lot like coming into the Taboos, and like, yeah, we sort of like changed. It became a bit more professional when we changed our name, and yeah. What do you reckon, Sam?
I think the massive thing for us was the rebranding. We before we were in a band called the Rogues, and until then we didn't have a sort of image or direction. We got a new logo, rebranded, sort of sorted out a photo shoot to fit in closer to what our music style is.
Yeah, it was all about sort of like building a bit more of a professional image, basically.
Yeah, like obviously, like now you form a band, but what would you say your inspiration growing up was to get into music and take it a bit more seriously?
Sam, do you want to take this one?
Well, I think both of us, coming from the countryside in Lincolnshire, there was not really much else to do. It was kind of, do you sit down and be creative or waste your time going around to the pub or something like that?
I wouldn't say that's wasted time, but
yeah.
But yeah, no, I think there's definitely a thing for like people that come from like sort of very like in the middle of nowhere, basically like in very like countryside sort of areas. Like there's definitely like sort of a creative spark that comes from there, just out of like the sheer like boredom, I think, to be honest.
Were there any particular bands or artists that inspired you to start making music, or was it just something you decided to do?
Well, I think like a big one for both Sam and I would have been Arctic Monkeys. That was like probably the big sort of like the one that got us like really into the sound that we like, and like the sound that, Arctic Monkeys 100%, I would say.
Yeah, we both had our individual tastes and stuff, but they were sort of the band that brought us together, wanting to play in a band rather than just create music.
Yeah, Libertines as well. That was a big one for both of us, I think.
Would I be right in thinking you were both at sort of a younger age when you started learning to play guitar or whatever?
I started learning, I think I got a guitar for my 12th birthday or something like that. So yeah, since then, so I'm 22 now, so I've probably been playing for like 10 years. And then I probably started singing about when I was about 16 or something, I would say.
Yeah, Alex actually was the one who taught me guitar. I had lessons when I was 7, couldn't really get into it. And then when we met at secondary school from about 11, 12, Alex was just picking up the guitar. So I got him to teach me a few things, jumped on a bass guitar and sort of self-taught myself how to transpose guitar work to bass.
Indeed. Here we are.
Would you say that learning a guitar at a young age, especially through secondary school, helped you in terms of your mental health, especially with your self-confidence?
For me, absolutely, 100%. It was like sort of gave me some sort of like direction and something to like distract my mind and stuff. I think like it kind of like absorbed me, and that's like definitely made me feel a lot happier. Like I had something that I could go home and put all my like time and effort into.
Yeah, I think it's like a hobby kind of thing at that age, and it's really good to keep you being creative, because a lot of school and stuff is more the formal side of things of just straight learning maths, English and stuff. So having that on the side to come home to is definitely helps you mentally.
Yeah, good form of escapism.
Yeah, like obviously you talked about mental health there. Would you say writing songs has helped with mental health as well? And like, how do you go about writing the songs?
I'd say it definitely helps with mental health. It's a very like therapeutic process. Yeah, it's something that sort of like always you can just sort of like drop everything going on in your life and then be invested and absorbed in like your creation, which I find like fascinating every single time I do it. As for like a sort of a writing technique, I don't really know. Like everything, like Sam generally is like the bulk lyric writer of the band, and then I'll basically turn it into a song, and that's kind of how it's been like quite a few years now. But yeah, it can start from anything really. Like it depends. It's different each time, I think.
Do you remember the first song that you wrote, and what was the inspiration behind it?
Trying to think of that. Oh, it was Tell Me When, wasn't it? Yeah, because we've written songs in previous bands, so it dates back quite a while. Because when we were 12, we actually recorded a whole album. Me and Alex had written. Yeah, had some interesting
trash.
Yeah,
absolute trash. But yeah.
Is there anywhere we can hear that album?
Absolutely not.
No, I don't think we even have it recorded anywhere. I think it got lost along the way.
It got lost in the void. But yeah, I think like originally like we had sort of like a rough breakup with a band, and that was kind of what stemmed this sort of first song that I can vividly remember sort of writing. But yeah, it was about being in a previous band that didn't work out, basically.
Yeah. With having a lot of free times on your hand over lockdown, have you been able to use the time to work on making any new songs or in terms of writing?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I wrote probably like an album's worth at least of like full completed songs, and then there's probably like another album's worth of like half finished songs that may or may not get finished. But yeah, it was a very, very productive time. I've heard a lot of like fellow musicians saying like they've like not had a very creative lockdown experience, but I think mine's kind of differed to that, particularly towards the start. For like the first like 3 weeks or so, I was like banging out tunes every day. It was great.
Yeah, I think for me as well, lyrically, because the process is usually Alex has got some music written and then I'll send him over some words. So the lockdown hasn't really hindered our creativity because we've not really had to be in the same room for that process still to work. I just managed to keep writing down words, especially with everything going on. You're trying to keep yourself entertained, distracted from the cyclical nature of just getting up and not doing anything every day. Definitely, there's a lot more personal touches in the words as well that we've written.
Yeah, like in October 2018, you released your debut single "Criminal." Like, what would you say the reaction was like, and what was the idea behind the song?
Sam, do you want to take this one?
Well, the words wise, earlier stuff, I'd say up until the lockdown, really. When writing songs, I used to write short stories as a kid and still do. And I used to create a song basis around a story of an idea that I'd seen in conversations that I've had with many people drunkenly at festivals and stuff. And that's sort of where that idea came from. It is, just about how when somebody takes from you, like a criminal or whatever, they're not just taking your possessions, they're taking the time that you've put in to earn those stuff. Like a TV might cost £200, but it's the lifetime you've spent earning that money and stuff. And that's sort of what the song's about. But it's not on a personal life experience, just an idea I've had from many conversations with people.
Yeah, and I'd say the reaction to that track was actually pretty good, because that was the time that we kind of like revamped ourselves and sort of came back, and because we hadn't released any music for years, like at least 3 years, I would have said.
There's a lot of excitement around it from everyone wanting to hear, because it was the first thing we'd recorded that we'd done professionally, really, in Chapel Studios.
Yeah, we'd kind of like in the recordings that we previously done, they were kind of very rushed, and I'd say like our actual ability as well was like way inferior to what it is now. So yeah, it was the reaction was very good.
You followed that up by releasing 2004 and No Miracles. Now, No Miracles has currently got 30,000 listens on Spotify. Were you surprised at all at how well the song did?
To be honest, well, yeah, I like because we were like considering in comparison to like the material that we've released before, it's like definitely stands out out of the other two at that time, and I think it's quite a sort of like catchy and like likable, easy listening kind of song. So I guess in that sense, I'm less surprised that it's the one that stands out.
We touched earlier on your latest release, Innovative Thinking. What's the general reaction been like to that song so far?
I'd say that one's definitely been the best reaction that we've received for a single so far. Despite, I mean, like No Miracles one was really good, and we kind of felt like that we really like stepped our game up. And then this one's been like even better. So it's like we feel like very content with the direction that we're going in at the minute.
Yeah, there's been a lot of better reaction, I'd say, from things like radios and blogs and stuff, especially that have got hold of it, rather than just like with No Miracles, it did really well and successful on Spotify, but the radio play, like the BBC links with the Innovative, that was lacking, I thought, with the last single. But been really pleased with the reaction that we've got for this one.
Yeah, definitely.
We mentioned earlier that it was chosen as BBC Music Pick of the Week in Lancashire. How did it make you feel to find out that you'd be featured a part of something on that scale?
Yeah, it's definitely very, very like humbling kind of experience. And yeah, I got to go and have an interview on the BBC radio with Melvin Pryor, which was, yeah, you know, like a very, yeah, I don't know, quite surreal. I was pretty nervous, to be honest. But yeah, no, it was like, yeah, very good feeling. Like we certainly felt like we'd achieved something that we'd set out to do. And like we're still getting continuous like radio play from BBC Lancashire. So like, yeah, we can't thank them enough, really.
Do you think that you're looking to making an album or an EP in the near future, or are you going to focus on maybe bringing out some more singles first?
We were discussing this the other day,
actually.
Yeah. So, well, basically, over the course of like the last few years or so, we have like acquired and created a number of recordings. So we probably got like another like 10 unreleased tracks. So we could technically release an album, but I think we'll probably like we'll definitely release another single hopefully this year, and then we'll be looking at doing like releasing an EP maybe like springtime next year or something like that. But we have been saying that for about 3 years, so
yeah, it's we want, when we release a single out, we want to make sure that it's all perfect, all the behind the work scene is done, and that is be able to get a good reaction, because rather than just releasing a single and it's sort of being forgotten about, we put our heart and soul into each one, so we want to make sure that it gets heard by as many people as possible.
Yeah, like during lockdown, we've obviously been without gigs. And in your opinion, what do you reckon makes the energy of a gig so good?
I think like the crowd itself is probably a big factor of it.
Definitely the crowd.
Yeah, the tunes. I don't know, like I think, yeah, just the environment really, like and even like the time of the night that you play. Like there's nothing better than like doing a headline show for like a gig that you've planned and everything, and like it's your big night, and then everyone's there and like really up for it. Like that's like the best feeling.
Would you say that going to gigs either as a fan or performing your own gigs has a positive impact on your mental health?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
I thrive off it. I don't know what I'd do without both of those things, to be honest.
There's nothing better than like the drive home or whatever, or the train home from when you've seen one of your favorite bands. Like you're still buzzing the next day thinking about it, and it's that adrenaline rush, and it's the excitement leading up to it. It can be an entire experience. It's not just in those 1.5 hours that you're watching the band. It's all the time around
like
there as
friends
well,
and stuff like that, and just having a beverage with them.
Well, you mentioned the excitement of going up to a gig and on the train home and stuff like that. What's the best experience that you've had as a gig? Either as a fan or in terms of performing?
Oh, that's a tricky one, isn't it?
I always go default for best gig I've gone to is with Alex. We went to Benicassim in 2013 and saw Arctic Monkeys finally, and yeah, we weren't expecting the crowd because we were quite young then, 15, 16, and it was just an absolutely mental night.
Within the first song.
Yeah.
It was pretty rough for me from then out, but yeah, no, I'd say that one definitely stands out. Yeah, absolutely great gig. Like Yeah, I think festivals as well. Just like we love going to festivals. Like we used to go to Rockwerchter in Belgium, like every year, and it was like amazing. Like, yeah, like you'd never be as content as you are there.
Yeah, and playing as well at a
absolutely.
festival from our own gigs. Then it's just you've got a whole weekend. You get your mates down, and you're looking forward to playing. Trying not to get too drunk before you've got to go on, and then enjoying the night afterwards. And the next couple of days,
Yeah,
seeing amazing
absolutely.
bands around. Like, there's no better feeling than that.
On the topic of gigs, you've done a lot of support, most notably for people such as Nick Grimshaw and Scouting for Girls. How did it make you feel to be asked to support people such a high caliber?
Yeah, it's a great feeling. Yeah,
Yeah.
Again, like very humbling. Yeah, yeah, and and performing on these sort of events, there's like a certain like different like sort of level of pressure that's involved. But yeah, again, like we thrive off of it. Like we absolutely love like the pressure of playing with bands like that, and seeing it as an opportunity to do do what you do, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the opportunity because you feel like that you've got more people that you can appeal to, so you want to be on the absolute best of your form there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you mentioned the pressure of having to, of getting followed by, a big act. Do you use that pressure to like thrive off it, or do you tend not to focus on it?
I mean, yeah, I think it's hard. I guess it's kind of hard to ignore. I don't know, like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel direct pressure when playing because I know that we've rehearsed well. We've got it's my main pressure is that something else goes wrong out of our control, like sound on stage or anything like that, and those doubts creep in. But as soon as you start playing, I think they all go out the window, and you just get the adrenaline rushing.
I never let it like consume me or like my playing. Like I just try to like give it my all. Basically, it just kind of like spurs me on and motivates me to do my best.
Do you remember where and when you did your first gig as a band? That like the three of you, obviously Tom's not here today, but do you remember where that was and when, and what was that like for you?
With Tom, I'm not too sure, to be honest. Oh wait, it might have been like Alley Cat in London.
Oh, it was
Underbelly, yeah,
Underbelly. The Underbelly,
yeah, it would have been the Underbelly in London. Yeah, no, that yeah, yeah. We sort of like had another drummer, and we kind of like filtered him in, Tom, on that date. But yeah, our first gig as the Taboos was officially it was the workshop which is also in London, and yeah, it was like our sort of like big launch night as well. So that was like a night to remember, I think.
Continuing on with gigs and stuff, like, have you got any gigs for lined up once it's all safe and everything turns back to normal?
Yeah, we do have a couple of things in the works at the minute. Nothing like 100% set in stone, but we're looking to do like a handful of dates around. We're currently looking at about like February, March sort of time, doing a handful of dates. And
yeah, depending on when it's really possible, we want obviously the safest possible way, and to make sure everyone feels comfortable coming out as well is a big thing.
Yeah, obviously, like, what do you think of the social distancing gig Sam Fender done last night? Obviously, that's never been seen before.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think fair enough. I like as long as it's safe, and it seemed like it was a good night.
It's hard.
I guess it's not. It wouldn't be the same.
You can't really let this stop. Yeah, that's the thing. It's the atmosphere of a gig is all coming together and stuff. It's quite a weird experience. It's something that no one's ever really seen before.
Like with me at gigs, I love like obviously when you're jumping around at your pals having a good time. I don't think it'll be quite the same at a gig like what it was last night and tonight as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have like a manager, or are you just organising gigs and running things by yourself?
No, yeah, we do have a manager. Our Bear Music Management is they're based in Southampton. We've been with them since probably about April of 2019, I think.
Well, lads, you've spoken about, obviously you've got your 4 singles released, and you've mentioned that you have plans to maybe release an EP in the near future. One thing to end on, where do you see yourself as the band in 5 years?
Sam, do you want to take this one?
Well, I don't know whether it's about seeing ourselves or really hoping where we are, but we both want to do this as a career. Obviously, there's work we've got to do on the side to raise funds. It's an expensive business being in a band when you're starting out, because there's so much competition out there and you want to make yourself be heard and stuff. So the quality of the recording all comes in, and that's all costly. So I think for me it would be to use this as an actual career, not saying rich and famous or anything, just so that it's livable on to go around and play to fans around the country.
Yeah, I'm 100% with Sam on that one. Yeah, my aim is to have this as the primary source of income, but anything beyond that is would be a blessing. Yeah, we'd like the ambition. Like, we're very ambitious with this band. Like, we want to take it as far as we possibly can. But yeah, we want to get the sort of the main goal done and dusted first.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, lads. Make sure you stream the Taboos' new single, Innovative Thinking, on Spotify and Apple Music, and follow them on all social media as well. Cheers for coming on, boys.
Cracking. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.
Bye.